Hey, we're here with Sheridan Taylor, and Sheridan is here to share a very important message with us, and it's to not give up, to press on, to continue to better yourself because you can and you should. And Sheridan Taylor is a Canadian Army combat veteran of 17 years. He's a former corrections officer and suicide survivor. He writes about mental health, addiction, the stigma of mental illness, and how to reduce the harm these things do to us as individuals and as a society. I met Sheridan because I narrated his very excellent book called Not Okay, Okay, A Roadmap Back from the Brink. So we're going to bring some harsh truths to life here, Sheridan. We're going to tell people what's happening, where they need to correct, what you have corrected. So tell me about yourself.
Okay, well, I guess the journey of that starts about 2016 when my son is born. That's where the happy part starts. So at that point, I was at the actual brink. I was going to kill myself. It was the only at the time. This is something a lot of people don't understand about suicide. If they've never been suicidal, is that at the time it makes perfect sense. It is the only logical and rational solution to the problem, no matter how irrational and illogical it is from anybody else's perspective. For the person in that spot at that time, that is the correct choice. There is no other option. They've gone through everything else, as logically and rationally as you are, they think. And the only solution at that time for me was to take myself out of the equation. I was completely lost in trauma and depression and anxiety, spiking up to anxiety attacks that would last for days and nights on end, crashing into depressive episodes that would last for days and nights on end, having flashbacks, not just the Hollywood version of the flashback where you see the things, walking around in the world that you've already lived, but emotional flashbacks where we're triggered into emotional responses to things that are long, long past, and we're completely unaware of it. Right? We're aware of things that remind us of happy stuff or sad stuff. Like, this is a thing that reminds me of a crappy thing, or that's a thing that reminds me of a great day, right? But there are so many things that even just our own thoughts, we can have a random thought, a random memory that can trigger us into a flashback that's purely emotional, an emotional swing that we have no idea is happening to us because it's something we thought or we smelt or we heard, and we have no idea it's happening. So that was how I was living my life, completely chaotic, completely surrendered to victimhood. And I had a child. I had a new wife. My previous one having died a little over a year before that from her own illness, which might have contributed because, hey. And so to keep him from having the same struggles that I was living with, the only possible solution I could see was to kill myself. And I'm a fighter, right? I'm a warrior. That's who I am. That's who I was trained to be, programmed to be from birth, and who I am genetically. I fight. So my son was threatened. I will remove the threat. I'm the threat. Remove me. Simple math. But then there's the problem that if I did kill myself, I'd never get to see him again. And that sucked. And I'd never see my wife again. And that wasn't okay either. So now I had this complication. So I decided to go with plan B. I sabotaged the attempt. So that may be a failure? I don't know. I don't think so. But I did the hard thing. I did the brave thing. I actually, for the first time possibly in my life, did the really, really hard, brave thing. And I asked for help. And because I asked a professional, to whom I'd been incredibly rude just the week prior, for help, and because professionals go into the mental health profession because they are inherently kind and generous and compassionate and empathetic human beings, she helped me. And then that led me into this world of other humans who do that sort of thing. And they taught me stuff about what my body does and why I was living the way I was living and why I was out of control and why I was miserable and why I was ruining my life and how to stop doing all that, which was cool. That was helpful. It's kind of cool to have somebody say, "Hey, this is what you're doing. This is how to stop doing that." And get your ass in gear. Get your ass in gear. Sorry. So what I did, I fought me as hard as I possibly could for as long as I possibly could, winning and losing, because it's not hard to outsmart me when I'm me. It's not hard to outsmart me, period. Actually, I have a dog that does it all the time. But perseverance always wins. Mental illness or demons, however you want to phrase it, right, can't beat us, right? It cannot defeat us. It can only, your demons, whatever, can only try to convince you to quit. And I've been in plenty of fights of various kinds, but if we make that equation to a physical altercation, fisticuffs, whether it be in my righteous duties as law enforcement professional or as a drunken asshole in a bar, because I've been both. As long as you're swinging, you haven't lost yet, right? And, I've drugged myself back to my knees and my feet, sometimes by using my opponent's own blue jeans. And he's kind enough to let me get to my feet before knocking me down again. But I haven't lost yet. And same thing with me. The illness, the injury, the trauma, the demons, whatever you want to call them, couldn't make me quit. I refused to quit. I wasn't doing it right all the time. I wasn't using the right tools at the time, or I wasn't doing this, or I wasn't. But the one thing I also wasn't doing was quitting. And as long as I never quit, I couldn't lose. I hadn't lost until I quit. And through perseverance, sheer stubbornness, wit and charm, eventually I found a place of calm and peace and just okayness, which is necessarily a word, but I'm using it, so I'm taking credit. It's mine now. And by doing that, by making my own life better inside my head, inside my nervous system, inside my soul, I made my life better outside, and that made the lives of everyone around me better. It's funny how that works, right? You stop being an asshole and ruining those lives, their lives get better. Weird. I recommend it, though. If you want to try that, it's a good thing. Give it a shot. Stop being an asshole. Help others. It's nice. Makes your life better. Theirs too. It's a good thing. No one's complained about making their life better yet. And then I wrote a book by accident, really. And then I met this cool guy named Rob who narrated my book. And then he asked me to come on his podcast, and I did. And I rambled on for I don't know how many minutes in a row. And hopefully somebody got something out of it. The end.
And it's a good end, and rambling is good, right? Because, I mean, how many times do you scroll social media and you stop and you find some clip and you find some post? Someone rambled 58 times, but the one ramble was like, oh my gosh, there's the one thing I noticed. There's that piece of information that entertains me or helps me. And so you said all kinds of good things. Like there was like 8 or 9 different nuggets. I'm like, oh, well, we'll use that. Oh, nope, that's gone. Oh, now we're on the next subject. But you said a lot of good things. And whenever the whole self-help subject comes up, what always comes to mind for me is like our brains are running the outdated software, right? We're running the caveman software when back then we didn't have books, we didn't have all these people that had figured out all of the addiction kind of mental logic or lack of, right? They didn't know about all these kind of techniques. But now we're in this age where we have the internet, we have podcasts, we have YouTube, we have books. So what are these tools? Like when you say like you kind of had these huge swings, right? This kind of not in a very good mental place, and you dug yourself out of it. Like how did you do it? Or how do we do it if we're in a similar situation or on the decline? How do we not be such a jerk?
First thing is finding the courage to ask for help. It's like, the whole story about addiction, right? The first step is admitting you have a problem, right? Well, it's the same thing with all of it. But because addiction isn't the problem. It's a problem. It's a part of the problem. But the alcohol wasn't causing my problems. It caused some. But if I hadn't drank the alcohol in the first place, the problems that stemmed from that would never have occurred. I drank the alcohol because it helped me not feel like me, and I didn't like me. So the alcohol was not the problem. And I can actually drink alcohol now. I just don't like to because it tastes disgusting. So the first thing, is look at your life, whoever you are, dear listener. And if you are not happy with part of it or all of it, then ask yourself, why? And don't go because they or because it or because, no. Why are you unhappy inside you? Because I can guarantee you, having been in places that many people will consider hellish and been okay with that, I assure you, your outer environment isn't necessarily the cause of your inner turmoil. It's possible to be happy in hell, and it's possible to be miserable in heaven if you choose. There are circumstances in which you cannot control them, of course. Awful things happen. They just do, because that's life, and life has no particular intention of making your world better or worse. It's just going to continue rolling on, doing what it does. Your job is to figure out how to be okay with that. So first, figure out why you are unhappy, what's wrong with what's going on, and then how do you fix it? What do you do? We have created this entire culture where we preach that nothing is your fault and everything is external and you're a victim of stuff. And we are victims of stuff. Yes. But I assure you, dear listener, if I can promise you that if you decide that you have the power to change how you think and how you feel about what you think, you will make your life better. There are simple things you can do easily for yourself right here and now. Drink more water and drink less caffeine and alcohol. There's a good one. Meditate once in a while. There are free apps that will help you do that. Prioritize your sleep. Turn off the lights and the screens an hour before bedtime. Make your room dark. Get some exercise once in a while. Go for a walk for 20 to 30 minutes a day. Just a walk. If you can't sing, you're walking too fast. Eat relatively healthy. Relatively. I've been known to eat a pie for breakfast. However, I have a 34-inch waist at 200 pounds, so I'm doing okay. Right? Talk to people. More importantly, listen to people. Because then they feel better about you, and then you feel better about you. It's nice to have people pay attention to you. Listen. Listen more when you talk. Find a professional. Doesn't have to be a psychologist necessarily, right? Religious personages quite often have training that's helpful. Various therapists. If they're telling you you're a victim, then run away from them because they're either stupid or trying to sell you something. If they're trying to help you be responsible and accountable for your own stuff and your own things and telling you you have the power to fix your shit, then maybe listen to them because they're right. And yeah, just listen to the right people, the ones that are telling you you can fix your shit. Verify it with science. science isn't always, that's not correct. Science is always right. Scientists can be wrong because they're humans. Science is fact. So peer-reviewed papers, Google Scholar's helpful, university libraries. If you don't want to just do or if you can't afford to do the other thing, just hire a shrink once in a while. Maybe you can't. I get it. I couldn't if I wasn't a veteran. Yeah, start there. If you lower your physical stress levels, because your body cannot distinguish between a psychological stressor, such as fear of someone's judgment, or a physical stressor, like if a bear came into my kitchen right now. Both would be terrifying. Someone judging me, because I'm terrified right now of you, dear listener, judging me. But I'm doing it anyway, because do scary things makes you better. But my body was reacting the same. So if I lower my physical stress, I lower my psychological stress. Learn to recognize what emotions are. Let's start with that. Emotions. What are they? Well, I'm glad you asked, Robert. Emotions. Oh, you didn't ask. Oh, well. Emotions are a physiological response inside your body, dear listener. They are nothing more than synaptic pathways in your brain opening and closing and neurochemicals cascading up and down your nervous system. They are a signal from your body that something is happening, no different than pain or hunger. So if you are feeling sad, ask yourself, what is your body telling you? What is it missing? Why is it sad? If you are feeling angry, why are you angry? Recognize what they are, then do this weird thing that we don't like to do in this culture where you just sit with the silly thing. If you're sad, be sad. There's a reason why you're sad. And if you try not to be sad, then you bury it and it comes out later and it bites you in the ass real hard. Learn to sit and listen. And yeah, that's a good start.
It is. It's a good list and it's helpful. And what comes to mind with all this is that it's basically a lot of what you listed there is self-care. And I'm always thinking about when I was a kid, I used to think that in order to be productive or do a good job in school, I thought I had to be stressed and I thought I had to be fearful. And it takes a lot to unlearn. And I'm still always struggling with that, this idea that, well, you need to kind of bring down your level somewhat and get a little more calm, because you won't be of any help to yourself or anyone else if you just kind of use stress as the fuel. You might think that it works for a while, but it's just like, it's really not a way to live. And so in our final minutes, do you have any kind of advice to speak to that? Because sometimes there's the go mindset attitude, right? Of like, well, I have to cram all this into my day. I have to be so busy. I have to have just like record-breaking stress levels in order to be so productive. Like, how do we avoid that, but also kind of keep our edge or keep who we are?
Understand that you don't have to earn your place on this world. Your ticket was bought for you. It was you belong here because you're here. That's why you don't need to earn it by contributing this and doing more of that. And you have your value, your worth is not dependent on your productivity or your job or your title or your anything else. Your worth, dear listener, dear Robert, is based entirely on the fact that you are a human being and therefore divine in and of your own self, and you belong here. You will accomplish whatever you accomplish in the day. And some days that will be nothing more than breathing and keeping your children alive. I have had days of that. And that's okay. You don't have to earn your place on earth. The ticket was paid. You belong here. So take a second and just enjoy the damn place. It's pretty cool.
Just enjoy it. Have that gratitude. Well, we want to make sure to give people a taste of the chaos of the crazy in a good way, right? We wanted to say, oh my gosh, this guy, Sheridan Taylor, where's he been all my life? And how can I find out more about what he has to offer, what he has to say? You have your book, you have your social media. What are some next steps?
I don't know, man. I don't have a plan for this stuff. I ask people once in a while if they want me on their podcast, and they will just come ask me want me to come on or a TV show or whatever, and I do. And sometimes people ask me to come give some speeches, and sometimes I do. I put out stuff on my Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn pages and stuff, just as it occurs to me or whatever. Yeah, I don't really have a plan for it. My plan is to raise my kids as best I can to be good humans. Love my wife as much as I can, as often as I can. And other than that, helping people is just something that I try to carve a little time out of my day for once in a while. Not every day, because trying to do that was stressful in and of itself and counterproductive. Yeah, I don't have a plan. I'm not a guru. I'm not I'm not a wise man or I learned some shit. It worked. It works for others, so I help them with it, and I do it as often as I can without stressing myself out about it. Does that make sense?
I think it does. It's a great habit and a great so-called work ethic where you just say, well, hey, I'll be consistent in these ways. I've got my message. I've got some stuff to say, and people seek you out. And it's still a good place to send someone to Google search Sheridan Taylor. And if you're the kind of person that hangs out on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, then find him where you're at. Follow him, add him, see him in your feed. Go and find him on Amazon. That book is called Not Okay, Okay, A Roadmap Back from the Brink from Mr. Sheridan Taylor. And so as people are just seeking to find more of the good stuff, or I feel like I need to go back and review this podcast 2 or 3 times. But I feel like to end this, we need to kind of wrap it up, right? We need to connect it together somehow if it's possible. And in this TikTok and podcast day and age, we love the sound bites, right? We like the real quick clips. And so near the end of these podcasts, I like to ask my guests for a fun or a helpful quote or lesson that has helped them, that has served them, that they can then pass on to us. So do you think it's possible? Is there a way to connect what we've been talking about into a quote or lesson and say, hey, we gave you all this overwhelming stuff, but here's what to focus on. Here's the next step. What comes to mind?
You're not alone. I know when I was lost in madness, I was all alone because no other human on the face of the earth could possibly feel what I was feeling or had ever felt what I was feeling. The strange thing is, though, being a human being with a Homo sapiens nervous system, turns out every single other human being has experienced the same emotions and sensations at some point in their life or will, because we're never alone. So you're not alone. You're not broken. You're not flawed. You're human. And that's really, really good. It's a good thing. You're not alone.
I love it. It's a good thing to be human, and you're never alone. There's always help, including if you're the kind of person that you want to see what's out there, see some possibilities, get a taste for what Mr. Sheridan Taylor has to say. Find him on your social media platform of choice. Get that daily or regular positivity. It can be better. It should be better. You will be better. And Mr. Sheridan Taylor is the guy to just follow, listen to, talk to, chat with, because he doesn't have all the secrets, but he has some pretty good stuff to say. So Sheridan Taylor, Canadian Army combat veteran, 17 years. The book is Not Okay, Okay, A Roadmap Back from the Brink. Find it on Amazon. Mr. Sheridan Taylor, wonderful speaking with you.
Thank you.